If you were to ask me, Ron, what do you like so much about the PS Audio Sprout 100? Knowing all of the improvements that PS Audio has done to it, they tossed in a remote control, they increased the wattage, they made some improvements to the DAC, to the headphone section, to the phono section. What is it that you like the most about the PS Audio Sprout 100? My answer would be its attitude. I forgot the Sprout 100. Sarah and Georgia are out shopping, and we are gonna go play around with the Sprout 100 over at Mark's house, and I am freaking stoked. This is gonna be awesome. Mark is such a cool guy. You guys are gonna love him. He's a really interesting audiophile. He cracks me up. I don't think he buys anything like brand new. He actually looks for audiophile equipment in thrift stores from years ago, and he's been doing that forever. And some of the stuff that this guy finds is just crazy. I'm just like, oh, okay. You got a DAC for $3. Yeah, there he is.
That's your whole setup.
That's it. You want to play with this thing?
Brave new Ron, let's play. Oh yeah.
We're gonna have some fun. This is like 5 of my rooms. I mean, let's face it. If the Sprout can do well in here, then it can do well in a lot of places. Hey Mark, red is positive.
How's it going, eh? Claire asked me to sit in the sweet spot today.
We both are, at the same time. It's not gonna be weird at all. Dude.
Yeah?
It's really good.
Yeah.
Nothing that I'm hearing sounds like it's like falling flat on its face. You know, that it just can't. Yeah. If anything, I feel like let's give it a little more gas. Let's see how far this can go. I'm gonna mess with as it's playing, I'm gonna mess with the bass boost, and I'm gonna see which one I prefer. Okay, when the light is blue, the bass boost is off. When the light is white, the bass boost is on. Definitely heard a difference right away. So my first impressions was with the bass boost on, and I liked it. So let me listen to this a little bit. Dude, if you remember from my first Sprout review, I had no problem with them putting that bass boost circuit in there, and I still don't. Who is this?
This is Tears for Fears.
Is it really?
Tears for Fears with...
Is this a live performance, or? This, what we just heard, in my mind, in terms of just sheer dynamics and everything that's going on, if we were going to see like a critical flaw in that, we probably would have heard it by now.
I can only think of one other song that gives you that big of a variety of instruments, of dynamics, but that song is by Toto.
Here we go with the Toto. Even if PS Audio designed this to work in just like a small, simple system, apartment style, on a desk, well, they hit the ball out of the park. But they also covered bases in a big room, which is
amazing for something that size.
Rejig would be interesting to hear on this.
Okay. Okay, did you notice any clipping on the drum parts in there?
Maybe,
Cymbal clash.
maybe I was about to say, maybe the slightest amount of strain on this one. Just a little bit.
A little bit.
And we had that thing cranked.
Yes.
It was really loud.
This is the most dynamic piece.
Like that loud in my room would have knocked down a wall. Like, hey Sarah, we remodeled. You're gonna love it.
It didn't cost anything.
Does Costco sell walls? Ooh, what do we got here? What was that?
Let's turn it down a little bit and hear Dave Brubeck.
Little Dave. Oh,
Go with that?
we're gonna hang out with Dave.
All right.
Nothing wrong with that.
Gonna want to turn it down though.
All right. I could see somebody pairing the Sprout 100 up with some ELACs and calling it a day. You know, if they're into like do-it-yourself, GR-Resarch, I could see them going the route of Polk Audio. How do you turn it off? Hey, PS Audio, how do you turn off the Sprout 100? All right, we're gonna switch things up. We'll be right back. All right, so these are Mark's homemade speakers.
Man, you really missed the bottom octave. It's not quite an octave, but it's...
I don't,
Really?
Mark. I almost said, hey, let's stop for a second because you know, at one point physics is going to give you the bird and say, hey, I can't do miracles here. You know what I mean? PS Audio has your back. Plug in a sub, you know? Let's talk about what just happened because this is important. I think that you guys need to know it. If you are plugging in the sub, at that point, disengage the bass boost. Let's try those Titans. I want to hear those. Yeah, I'm shocked you have a Black Keys record. Pause it. Hold on. I cannot believe how big that sounds.
Paradigm knows what they're doing.
All right, so how much were these?
These were $8.
These were...
half off days, so they were $4.
Let me tell you something. Get yourself a Sprout. Get a hold of Mark. Offer him $20 for these speakers. You still made out like a bandit. And that rig will blow your mind because that sounded really, really good. Let's keep playing. You really don't need to spend a lot of money to get really high performance. And the fact that it can do so much more than what we're doing right now, you know, if Mark ever, you know, would quit messing around and get a turntable, we'd be able to listen to some records over here. You can stream, you know, if you want to stream, you can do that. There's just so much versatility in that box that it's pretty killer. I know what you're thinking. Ron, no thanks, man. We're not gonna go driving around to thrift stores to look for speakers to try with the Sprout 100. And we are not going to drop $5,000 for a pair of Ryan R630s. This is ridiculous, bro. Like, come on, you gotta do better than that. So let's do better than that. Let's try it out here with a whole bunch of speakers that do make sense with the Sprout 100. Yeah, it's party time. Papa got a new camera and Papa knows how to use it. All right, listen up. Everything that I'm about to say is obviously my opinion, but one thing that has changed with New Record Day is that it's also backed by some evidence. What the heck does that mean? I'll tell you. Over the last year, my brother and I spent a lot of time learning how to properly measure speakers. I invested in all the right tools, and we had 2 amazing teachers to help us along the way. So, Danny Ritchie and Andrew Jones, thank you, gentlemen. We certainly do appreciate it. Also, full disclosure, no money or product has been given in exchange for this review. Everything that I say is based on my own experience, and no one has influenced me at all. All right, enough with the rambling. Let's get to work. I must admit, trying to nail down the voice of the Sprout 100 was pretty difficult, and the advantage of hearing it paired with so many speakers allowed me to notice one consistent observation. Both the original Sprout and Sprout 100 can sound a little dry.
What?
The top end and upper mid-range can be a little chalky or sterile and is frankly more noticeable when the amp is pushed. Now, before PS Audio has a heart attack, like why did we send this thing to Ron, let me show some grace in saying this. I don't think for even a second that this is some kind of an attribute that is unique to the Sprout lineup. I've heard the same thing over and over and over with other Class D designs, and I'm starting to think that's just how things are when it comes to a switching power supply. Also, I am reminded who is going to be hitting the checkout button. Do we, seasoned veterans of hi-fi, really think all these greenhorns are going to notice anything that I just mentioned? Probably not. Coming in at a close tie with the GR-Resarch AVOs for the smoothest or easiest to listen to top end when combined with the Sprout 100, the Aon 2s never once sounded shouty, bright, or forward and presented all things treble in a very well-behaved manner. Does this mean that they are warm sounding or boring? Heck no, not at all. But for those that are worried about listening fatigue and need a speaker to relax just a little bit on top, these speakers would be an easy recommendation. Also worth mentioning, the driver integration between the tweeter and the woofer is superb. I never felt that the tweeter was calling attention to itself, and that, my friends, is one sign of a well-designed crossover network. Mid-range on the Aon 2s will simply present vocals in a straight line. For those that are seeking a chesty coloration, these probably won't win you over, as I'm guessing Sandy Gross is more interested in linear truth. The bottom line is this. Combined with the Sprout 100, the mid-range on the Aon 2s is clean, but it could also be described as a little thin. I would imagine with the right tube amp running off the Sprout 100's variable outputs could certainly beef things up, but that is a different conversation and perhaps another review. When it came down to bass performance, while not the most explosive or robust pairing, I found the Sprout 100 and the Aon 2s to be tied with the AVOs as the most balanced offering with the cleanest and quickest sounding bass. In the end, the GoldenEars present everything bass related with an even-handed approach, and they rarely sound boomy. Lesson learned? Well, passive radiators are freaking awesome. Oh, and for those curious, in my room, the Goldens played very loud and all the way down to 41 Hertz before dropping off. Not bad for a speaker that apparently doesn't know how to rock. Sorry, I digress. The top-end extension of the Motion 15s sounds detailed without sounding obnoxiously bright. Only when pushed to extreme levels, and I'm guessing probably around 95, did I find myself starting to enter fatigue territory, which, now that I'm thinking about it, certainly could be the Sprout struggling. Either way, I think anyone listening to music at conservative to moderate volumes are in for a treat. Simply put, these are going to provide the most top-end detail retrieval of the bunch, and the measurements support this with a slightly elevated top end. For those listening at lower volumes, this will work to your advantage, making it simple to catch all the goodies hiding in the grooves of your favorite recordings. Also, almost forgot to mention, the top end of the Logans is also the most forward sounding of the bunch, giving you that exciting front row experience. Certainly not a bad thing. Mid-range, specifically lower mid-bass below 500 Hz, was the meatiest sounding of the bunch, with a little campfire warmth, or as Sean from Zero Fidelity would say, lit from within. Lit from within. You know what? Hold on a second. Let me set that shot up exactly how Sean would do it.
Yo, what's up? This is Sean from Zero Fidelity, and when it comes down to the performance of this particular speaker, the Martin Logan Motion 15, it has that lit from within character inside of this particular woofer, and so when we talk about its performance envelope, that's exactly what you all can expect. Folks who want a bit more Barry White and like the sound of chesty vocals, you know, a little bit of yeah, these guys are a no-brainer. For context, if you've had a chance to hear the original ELAC debut series, these remind me of that mid-bass tone. Granted, I know I have some room gain issues between 100 and 150 Hz, which is exactly where all of these speakers spike in my measured waterfalls, but still, what I am hearing is super obvious, and I'm confident you will hear the meteor mid-range regardless of the room that you have. Shooting in-room measurements, I had the 15s playing all the way down to 41 Hz. So, results will surely vary depending on the room. Martin Logan's site has them spec'd -3 decibels at 60 Hz, so yeah, even with well over $1,000 in room treatment, I still have a crap ton of room gain down below, which is one more reason
that sound clips
are completely useless and a ridiculous idea. While the bass isn't the fastest, nor as responsive as the GoldenEars, it sounds incredibly confident and eager to impress with serious slam within its frequency range. For those interested in staging performance, I gotta be honest, I can't determine a clear winner between the GoldenEars and the Motion 15s. Honestly, I changed my mind so many times during the review process that I'll just have to say this. Both are awesome and know how to disappear when set up correctly. I wish more than anything that these little AVOs could be purchased fully assembled because they are easily my favorite speakers to listen to with the Sprout 100. While putting them together is certainly not hard and worth every single penny, I do understand that the do-it-yourself community is a small niche of an already niche market. It's been a while since I made mine, but all in, I don't think I even cracked 400 bucks. By design alone, the AVOs are able to do things that these other speakers can't possibly do. Without question, being the kings of the lineup when it comes to throwing the deepest, tallest, widest soundstage in my room, these will freak out all of your friends when they hear them for the first time. If a holographic-like performance is what you seek and you own a couple of tools, yeah, smash the checkout button. You will thank me later, I promise. The top-end extension of the AVOs combined with the Sprout is the most forgiving of the bunch and sounds smooth and relaxed enough to enjoy over long listening sessions. With this speaker, you will bottom out the woofer long before you are worried about fatigue from the tweeter. Sacrificing a little more excitement in exchange for width, I like the AVOs facing forward. Setting them up this way creates a stage wider that might be technically correct or true to the actual recording, but I don't give a rat's rear end because it sounds so freaking awesome. When it comes to mid-range, the AVOs are a tough nut to crack. While I love the tone, I have to admit that the voicing isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea. So, fleshing this out is a little harder and requires the right description. Understand this, the woofer on the AVO is facing up, and that's going to do a few things regarding tone. First, the entire stage is further back, taller, and wider, giving a small room the illusion of being much larger. That's a good thing, right? But time arrival is going to be delayed, so you aren't going to get that front row experience like you can with the other speakers. In terms of the AVO's voicing, I think these guys sit a little closer to the GoldenEars than the Motions, giving you a little meat on the bones, but won't enter the same degree of chestiness as the Motions do. Bass on the AVOs dug down the lowest to 39 Hz in my room, and the only speaker in the lineup that I liked having the bass boost engaged on the Sprout 100. Since a gated response only shows data from 200 Hz and up, and a room measurement didn't really help me figure this out, I can only assume Danny tuned the port to be as neutral as possible, which is why adding a little bass worked out well. Either way, I doubt you'll have any issues using these guys for most genres of music with or without the bass boost. Just remember, keeping these guys a good 2 to 3 feet away or more from the walls is recommended to reduce room gain. I typically listen to them 5 or 6 feet into the room and 3 or 4 feet away from the sidewalls. That gives me the goods that I'm looking for. Similar to the Logans, I felt the bass on the AVOs to be a tad slower than the GoldenEars, but Danny's woofers are so well behaved, it's easy peasy to hear each and every single bass note, even to the lowest bass fundamentals. Alright, for those eager about the Sprout's 100 performance with headphones, I'll be quick in saying it sounded great with my Sennheiser HD800s and provided me with all the sonic goodness that I am looking for in a headphone amplifier. With that being said, I am probably underqualified to really dig into headphone details, and a better bet is to check out Z-Review's take on that section of the amplifier, which I will be leaving his review in the description box down below. Considering the fact that you're using a moving magnet cartridge and looking for simplicity, the Phono section sounds good enough even with an affordable cartridge like the Audiophile 2M Red. While there are surely better sounding standalone Phono preamps out there, there are none that come to mind that would clearly beat this guy until you invest, I would say, about half the price of the Sprout 100, and then it's like, well then why did you buy the Sprout 100? So there you go. As I close out this review, it is clear to me that PS Audio listened to the community in revising the Sprout 100. All of the improvements are welcome changes. At 100 watts into 4 ohms, I'd be shocked if anyone has a hard time driving most speakers out there. The addition of the remote is handy, and the defeatable bass boost was certainly the right move. All the connections on the back make more sense, and the overall functionality is better than its predecessor. Combined with all of the other upgrades that are detailed on PS Audio's site, make this little box a genuine challenger of other integrated amps at its price point. The form factor is alluring, the styling is attractive, and when considering everything, the price is certainly fair for what you get. Is it the best amplifier in the world, and will it replace high-dollar audiophile rigs? Nope, it certainly won't. But what it can do is so much more exciting. It could welcome new folks to hi-fi and greet them with enough quality to keep them in the freaking game. So yeah, the Sprout 100 is certainly hi-fi. And as far as New Record Day is concerned, it's one of the most thorough examples of what hi-fi should and can be, especially at its asking price of $599. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. When you start to realize you can't... All right, you ready? Okay. Say, audiophiles rule.
Set the rule.
Say, music rules.
See the word.
Georgia, do you like hi-fi? You like speakers?
Same.
Hey, do you like speakers?
Uh-huh.
Yeah? Mwah.